Luther King. He was born on January 15th. The year was 1929. His mother was a musician. Her name was Alberta. His father was a preacher. He had one sister and one brother.
Dr. King's early childhood, he became friends with a white boy whose father owned a business across the street. The boy's father found out and said, "We are white and you are colored." This incident caused MLK to stand up to racism at a young age.
In Martin Luther King Jr.'s adolescent years, he felt resentment against whites due to a racial humiliation that his family and neighbors had to deal with. In high school, he became known for his public speaking ability with a voice that had grown into a baritone. On April 13, 1944, his junior year, he gave his first public speech during an oratorical contest. In his speech, he said, Black America still wears chains. The finest Negro is at the mercy of the meanest white man."
He attended the Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. It had so much to offer. MLK was amazed at how there was no discrimination. There was also a church for white and black.
Luther King worked as an assistant minister at Boston Historic 12th Baptist Church with William Hunter Hester. When Martin Luther King was 25, in 1954, he was called a pastor at the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama.
Martin Luther King Jr. had a wife named Coretta Scott King. He met her because of a friend in college who introduced him to her. They got married June 18, 1953, and they later had 4 children.
Well, Martin Luther King Jr. was part of the Montgomery bus boycott. This was a political and social protest campaign against the policy of race segregation on the public transit system. This lasted from December 5, 1995 to December 20, 1956 in Alabama.
In 1957, King and other civil rights activists founded the Southern Leadership Conference.
Martin Luther King was on his way to Emory University when stopped by a police officer because he was driving without a license. He never got a driver's license, therefore he was on probation, and was involved in a sit-in at a restaurant that many people were arrested, including Martin. Most of the prisoners were released except King Jr.
In December 1961, King was involved in the Albanian movement. On December 15, 1961, he planned to stay a day or so and return home after giving the constellation. The following day, he was swept up in a mass arrest of people.
The Birmingham campaign was in Alabama. It was a peaceful protest led by Martin Luther King Jr. The police took bad action by using water hoses and dogs to scare everyone away.
The March on Washington happened on August 28, 1963. Martin Luther King delivered this speech for civil rights and economic rights. He described the screams of freedom and equality arising from the land of slavery and hatred. While delivering this speech, he was at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. This is where he delivered his famous "I Have a Dream" speech.
I Have a Dream was a public speech delivered by Martin Luther King Jr. during the March on Washington on August 28, 1963. In this speech, King called for civil and economic rights and an end to racism in the United States. One famous line from this speech is, "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." Poor People's Companion in 1968. The Poor People's Companion effort began in 1968 to gain economic justice for poor people in the United States. Martin and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the SCLC, carried out under the leadership of Ralph the King assassination that year. Because this was a 3,000-person protest camp at the Washington Mall.
Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee in support of workers who were put on strike. He was shot April 4th, 1928 outside of his hotel room while he was standing on his balcony.
Martin Luther King was assassinated. Riots started in Washington, D.C. President Johnson tried to contain the riots by making telephone calls to the civil rights leaders, mayors, and governors across the U.S. to warn the police.
Martin Luther King Jr. had a legacy in South Africa. King's work was cited by and served as an inspiration for a South African leader.
One part of his legacy was displayed in the UK, where they had a statue made in his honor, and also a charity was opened up called the Martin Luther King Fund.
Dr. King's main legacy was to secure progress on the civil rights in the U.S.
MLK influenced many people by his speeches and his protests, such as civil rights in South Africa and many Native American rights too.
Martin Luther King Jr. was awarded at least 50 honorary degrees from colleges and universities. He became the youngest winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. He was the conscience of his generation. On the $5 bill, there were designed plans of images of King's I Have a Dream speech. There were many memorial sites honoring him.
Martin Luther King Jr. was awarded a lot of awards. Some of his awards were Nobel Peace Prize, American Liberties Medal, Spring Honor Medal. He also won the Anisfield Wolf Book Award. He was also nominated for 3 Grammy Awards. Dr. King's legacy is important today because he has influenced so many people throughout his life by using the Black Conspicuous movement and the Civil Rights Movement in South Africa.
I believe that Dr. King's legacy is extremely important to us today because it shows no matter your race, religion, or any of that other stuff, we all deserve the rights that are equal rights that our Constitution promises us.
Dr. King's legacy is important today because it provides a model for how we deal with inequality today.
See the curtains hanging in the window in the evening on a Friday night. Little light is shining through the window, lets me know everything's alright.
This is Joke of the Week with Cyrus,
Carson, and Bridger.
The joke you know. Hey Kim, wanna hear a joke?
Sure.
Did you hear about the guy who stole a calendar?
No.
He got 12 months, they said his days were numbered.
What?
Hey Heather, do you want to hear a joke?
Sure.
Did you hear about the groom that was late for work?
No.
He overslept. This is Joke of the Week with Cyrus,
Carson, and Bridger.
This is Silver and Alyssa. We are going to talk about the weather. It looks like Monday is sunny with a high of 50. So far on Tuesday and Wednesday, we will have 50% chance rain and temperatures between 34 and 50 degrees. Lastly, for Thursday and Friday, there will be a 45% chance of rain with a high of 45 and a low of 32. That was Silver and Alyssa with the weather. Make sure to bring an umbrella and a jacket. See you next week. Bye!
Hi, I'm Piper. I'm Kelsey. And this is Weekly Trivia Questions. We're going to ask you a question you can drop off your answer at the office during advisory. And only advisory. And no Googling answers, or else. And now for the question. What is Green Day's most streamed song on Spotify in 2023? This song was released on August 1st, 1994, and received over 924 million streams on Spotify. Think you got it correct? We shall see it again. I'm Kelsey. And I'm Piper. And that was Weekly Trivia Questions. See ya!
This is the inspirational quote of the week with Briar and Marianne and Destiny. The inspirational quote is, "Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase," quoted by Martin Luther King Jr.
Hey guys, welcome back to Blackout Weekly, and this week's National Day is National Opposite Day with Arliss, Lane, and Boring Sammy. Hey Lane, I love your hair. Thank you. Joke's on you, it's opposite day. Well then, I love your outfit. That was it for this week, guys. Come back next week for more National Days with Sammy,
Arliss,
and Lane.
This is Staff Interviews with Loden, Gabe, and Max.
Erickson, what's your favorite hobby?
Anything outdoors, because I love being outside. Hunting, fishing, hiking.
Why's that?
Because it's fun, it's quiet. There's no kids.
Cool.
This was staff interviews with Loden, Gabe, and Max.
This is Student Spotlight with Hadley and Cam. Hey, baby. Hello. What's your talent?
I like to ski.
Oh, nice. How long have you been skiing for?
About 7 years.
Oh, that's cool. What's your favorite thing about skiing?
I like going fast to the window in my face.
That's cool. That was Student Spotlight with me and her.
This is Jocelyn
and Emma
with this week's upcoming events. On Tuesday, January 23rd, there's a home game versus St. Mary's for 7th and 8th grade.
Wednesday 24th, there's a makeup game in Timberlake for the 7th and 8th graders.
On Thursday, January 25th, there's an away game versus Bonners Ferry for 7th and 8th grade.
The Saturday, the 27th, there's a 7th grade tournament in Mullen. There's 8th grade versus Kootenai.
No school Friday.
And it's the end of the semester!
That was Jocelyn
and Emma
with upcoming events.
So I walked on up to the doorstep, through the screen and across the floor. Summer breeze